does truth matter in politics?
So, Conservative MP Michelle Rempel Garner has written an article, and the article is about how Canadians' trust in the government health directives and public health institutions was broken by the way the government handled the COVID vaccines and that rollout. And she's addressing that issue. And, I'm sure you're thinking, well, good, it's about time that one of these conservative MPs came out and said something about this, that this needs to be addressed and people need to be held to account. After all, the Canadian state lied to Canadians when they told us that they knew that these rush to market experimental pharmaceutical products were safe and effective, right? And the government acknowledges that over 11,000 Canadians have been injured as a result of taking these injections, which we were told were safe. And they acknowledge that at least 400 people have died as a consequence of taking these injections. So about time that a high-profile conservative would come out and say, this is what happened, this is what needs to be addressed. So let's see how Michelle characterizes her own thesis. This is what she says about her article. Michelle says, the Liberals deliberately ignored Royal Society advice, like not using terms like anti-vaxxer, which they speculated would increase vaccine hesitancy rates. So that is what Michelle is complaining about. That's her argument in this. Her argument is that not enough Canadians got injected with these products that have resulted in over 11,000 injuries and 400 deaths. And the reason was that Liberals used nasty words and called people names. And so that caused people to be vaccine hesitant. And it's the vaccine hesitancy that's the problem. In fact, what Michelle is doing here is that she is trying to shift people's focus by reframing this issue. It's not that if you were one of the people who chose not to get injected, it's not that you were a independent thinking adult who refused to pretend it wasn't glaringly obvious that we were being lied to, and insisted on retaining your right to choose for yourself what medications you take and to choose not to take them at all if you so desire. That's not what you did. What you did was that you acted like some 12-year-old who just resents being called names and so refuses to do the right thing. That's how Michelle has characterized this. It's condescending, it's elitist, it's a lie, and it's designed to shift the narrative away from what really happened to a narrative that's very different, that is driven for her own political gain, and is also intended to make Canadians not focus on the responsibility of people like her and her colleagues for lying to everybody that these products were safe when they couldn't have known that at the time. So here is Michelle responding to a doctor who was responding to her article. And he claims right off the bat here that this is Dr. Doug Eyolfson, something like that. He claims thousands of Canadians died of COVID due to vaccine hesitancy. Now, this isn't true. There's no way to prove that, none whatsoever. You cannot demonstrate that. I would say that it's completely false, that nobody died because they didn't take these things. No one died because they didn't take these things. However, we do know that for a fact that the government acknowledges that over 11,000 Canadians were injured because they took these things, and that at least 400 Canadians died as a consequence of being injected with these products. And what is Michelle's response to this? Does she refute his claim that thousands of Canadians died of COVID due to vaccine hesitancy? Not in the least. What she says is this: this doctor vilified the vaccine hesitant with language the Royal Society advised against, all for political gain. Now, everything that Michelle is doing is for political gain here, and for her own self-interest, and for the protection of people like her in the political class. And this doctor, which he's referring to, is, at the time, he tweeted these kinds of things, where he's calling people anti-vaxxers, and he's calling the people who protested in Ottawa foreign-funded insurrectionists. So this guy's an imbecile. And if there's one thing that we definitely got confirmed through the COVID period, it was, we all realize that you don't actually have to be particularly intelligent and certainly not ethical in order to be a doctor in Canada. That's clear. And Dr. Doug is demonstrating that here. But this is the thing, the takeaway with this. You know, if you were a conservative, if you vote for the Conservatives, if you voted for Pierre and his party in the last election, you want to believe that these are the guys who are on your side, they have your back, they're trying to represent your interests. Ultimately, it's not true, right? It's all the same. These people are all the same. They're all part of the same system and the same establishment. And their priority is protecting their own interests. And so that's what you're seeing here from Michelle. She is framing this in a way that causes, and she hopes, causes Canadians to distract from the real issue here. And the real issue is that people like her in the Canadian political establishment, politicians, health professionals, public health officials, and media lied to Canadians by claiming to know that these products were safe and effective, these rush-to-market experimental products, products which they acknowledge have harmed over 11,000 people, which they acknowledge have killed at least 400 people. And they don't want that story to be what you're focusing on. They want you to think about it in terms that suit Michelle, that this is a liberal thing and they use bad language and that made Canadians vaccine hesitant. You know, the people who chose not to take these injections were not vaccine hesitant. They were manipulation hesitant. They were blind obedience hesitant. Right? These were thinking people who made their own judgments and trusted their own judgments despite being constantly told that you can't trust your own judgments and that you shouldn't trust your own judgments, that it is somehow immoral and selfish to trust your own perspective on these things, to think that you have the right to choose what medications you take, even when it was obvious that what we were being told was a lie. Michelle Rempel Garner doesn't want you focusing on that. She wants you blaming liberals for using nasty names that cause people to behave out of spite to not get injected with these things.
Oh, you are misinformation spreaders. And then like ignoring the truth that tens of millions of Canadians understand. When will truth matter?
This is going to get ugly.
Never okay.